Sada Shiva Samarambham
Mam
Karacharya Madhyamam
Madhyamam
Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti. Okay, so we had completed which was 28, right? And now we look at the 29th verse. So please unmute yourself and chant with me. Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri
Bhagavanuvacha
Prakriter Gunasammudhaha
Prakritigunasammudaha
Sajjante Gunakarmasu
Sajjante Gunakarmasu
Dana Kritsna Vido Mandan
Krishnavido
Kritsna Vinna Vichalayet.
Krishnavinna Vichalaye.
Okay, so now look at the words as usual. The first word is broken into Prakritehe Guna Sammudaha. So Prakritehe Guna Sammudaha Sajjante Guna Karmasu. Then the first word of the second line, Tan, that is Na has a halant below it. Tan Akritsna. Tan Akritsna Vidaha. Okay, that's very important to note because in the word, in this sloka, you will see there is Tana Kritsna. It is not Tan Krishna because now you are adding the Visarga when you with the halant when you break it up. So it becomes Tan Akritsna Vidaha Mandan. Then the next word is Kritsnavid. Okay, so Krishnavid. The Krishnavin will break into Kritsnavid plus Na. So Kritsnavit Na Vichalayet. So Prakritehe Guna Sammudaha Sajjante Guna Karmasu Tan Akritsnavidaha Mandan Krishnavin Na Vichalayet. So the earlier verse we had talked about the Jnani. This verse is talking about the Ajnani, but it is addressed to the Jnani. So that little background should be there. Krishna is addressing the Jnani, but talking about the Ajnanis. And look at the words. Prakritehe Guna Sammudaha Guna Karmasu. Those people who confuse themselves with the gunas. Prakrite guna sammudaha guna karmasu. The people who confuse themselves with the gunas of Prakriti, sajjante, they are bound. And tan akritsna with, such people who are akritsna, incomplete. With means knowledge. Such people who are having incomplete knowledge, which means ajnani, and he gives a description over there, mandan, lacking discrimination, ajnanis. Kritsnavit, the one who is ajnani, na vichalayet, should not disturb. It's a very cryptic little verse. Look at the, I'll repeat the sentences in a different format for easier understanding. So, Guna Sammudaha, right? This Guna Sammudaha is where it is in the first verse, first word, but broken up. So Guna Sammudaha means those people who are deluded, who have moha, who are deluded Because of what? Gunaha. Because of the Prakriti Gunaha. Because of the modifications of Prakriti, which means the body mind sense complex. What happens to them? Sajjante. They become bound. They are bound. In what? Gunaha and Karmasu. They are bound by the gunas. Guna here means body mind sense complex, and karma means the actions done by the body mind complex. That is the first sentence. And therefore, Krishnavit, the one who was a jnani, tan akrishnavit mandan, na vichalayet. Na vichalayet, he should not disturb the mind of tan akrishnavit mandan, should not disturb the mind of those people who are not discriminating, right? In simple English, those who are deluded by the body-mind complex get attached to the karma which is done by the body-mind complex. And a jnani should not disturb the mind of such ajnanis. Such ajnanis, the whole reference is to the first line. Those who are deluded by the body-mind complex and attached to the karma done by the body-mind complex, such ajnanis should not be disturbed by a jnani. In the sense, he should not try to make them come to jnanam because they are not ready. So, the earlier verse, as I said, we were talking about jnani, right? Tatta vittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoho. The one who knows. About jnani. Here Krishna is talking about ajnanis, but he is addressing this verse to the jnani. So prakritehe guna sammudaha. Here prakriti means, or prakriti means nature. Prakritehe gunaha means the product of nature. What is the product of nature? The body, mind, sense complex. What is the proof? What is the proof that the body, mind, sense complex comes from Prakriti?
It has the three gunas.
It has three gunas. But when you look at proof, what you should do is look at the Shastram which you have studied. So Tattvabodha says very clearly that the entire body-mind complex is born out of the gunas only, right? You are familiar with that portion of it, I hope. Yes or no?
Yes.
You're all familiar.
Yes.
You talk about Sattvaguna bringing some part of the body, Rajoguna bringing some part of the body, Tamoguna bringing some part of the body. Each of the elements, the three gunas are taken and some part of the body is created. And the Sattva and Rajas and Tamas of the five elements combined also create some part. So all that is the very essence of the first few classes of Tattvabodha. I'm not going into that. So Prakritehe guna sammudaha means that. The Prakriti gunaha here means that body mind complex which was born out of Prakriti, means the ahankara, right? Not Dharma Shastram ahankara. So again and again I'll repeat, ahankara has two meanings. One is Dharma Shastram, where it is taken as a negative quality which you have, the unnecessary pride, that arrogance, that is called ahankara in Dharma Shastra. In Vedanta, ahankara simply means the three bodies plus consciousness. In other words, the RC. So ahankara in Vedanta means the RC. So here, prakrite gunaha means the RC. With regard to this RC, the ajnanis, sammudaha. Mudaha means deluded. Sammudaha means samyak mudaha, completely deluded, properly and absolutely deluded. Why? They don't have any objectivity about their own bodies. And because of this confusion, guna karmasu sajjante, they are totally absorbed, they're totally involved, they are lost in the guna and karma. So guna again, remember, means RC over here. So every sentence in Shastram is always, every word, the meaning has to be understood in terms of the context only. And here the context is Prakriti Gunaha is the Ahankara, the body, mind, sense complex. And therefore Guna Karmasu means the Ahankara and its activities and the karma that the Ahankara does. Because these people, they are confused about the Ahankara. They don't know who they are. They think they are the Ahankara. Therefore, they are completely involved in the activities of the Ahankara. And if you are completely involved in the activities of the Ahankara, you will be immersed in trying to do activities which make you happy and trying to remain away from activities which make you unhappy. In other words, trying to get karma phalam which makes you unhappy and getting rid of all the things which make you unhappy. Pravrti, nivritti. That is the lot. That is what comes to a ajnani. And therefore, for this ajnani, because karma keeps him absolutely involved and busy throughout his life, he does not have the time to ask one question. Am I this karta bhokta only? Am I this RC? He does not have time. And that is why Shankara says, Balastavat krida saktaha, tarunastavat taruni saktaha, vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. Where did you hear that?
Bhajagovinda.
Bhajagovinda. I hope you remember the meaning, right? You are so involved in all these things, saktaha. And ultimately, vriddhaha, you become old, and then you don't have time to ask yourself anything, because now you are worried about who will look after me when my body is no longer functional. And so here, Krishna addressing the jnani says, Krishna Vidan, O jnani, one who is got knowledge. What should you do? Tan akritsna mandan, that ajnani who is a mandaha, who is deluded, na vichalayet. You should not disturb their mind by asking them to, by teaching them jnana, because they are not ready, right? So here we are saying karmas are a bondage. Karma phalam is samsara. But you should remember the entire teaching. Karma is not useless. The very same karma which can become a bondage, with proper handling, it can be used to ripen the ahankara, to mature the ahankara. That same karma, which is the cause for bondage, can help me spiritually progress, right? Just like the same snake poison which can kill you, properly handled, that same venom can be used to make an antidote for that poison. Similarly, with proper handling, karma which is highly negative in its spiritual side, but we should remember that karma has a very, very important positive role to play. So somebody compared it to a banana. In a raw banana, if you remove the raw banana skin, first of all, the skin of the raw banana is difficult to remove, right? The Lord has made it, in such a way that to peel the raw banana is a problem. But if you peel the raw banana and keep it, what will happen?
It will turn black.
It will get useless. It will turn black, so it becomes, what is it called? Useless for us. It cannot be used anymore. It will destroy itself. And therefore, like Bhagavan has given the banana peel a particular function, that banana peel is required to make the banana ripe. Once the banana gets ripe, then nature itself, Easwara himself ensures that you just have to press slightly and the peel comes off. Why? Because at one point of time, that when the banana was raw, the peel was necessary for its maturity. Now that it is mature, the peel is not necessary. So keep the skin till it ripens. Remove the skin when it is ripe. And therefore, we have this Urvaru Kamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mokshiya Ma Amritat. Urvaru Kam Eva. Like the pumpkin. What is the speciality of a pumpkin?
Falls when ripe. It drops on it.
It drops, the
So very
vines drop it.
interesting observation.
It's right. The plant lets the
Plant lets it go.
The plant lets it go. The pumpkin doesn't drop. Pumpkin is already on the ground. Right? The creeper is attached to the pumpkin only as long as it is not ripe. When it is ripe, the creeper lets it go. So here, you can compare it to your family. Okay? Or karma, either way. So the family is like the skin. It is necessary for you to have a wife or a husband, and children, and all those, that grahastha, environment is necessary. Why? To enable you to ripen. If you did not have a grahastha atmosphere, what is the problem? You would never have any problems in your life. And therefore that dealing with people, dealing with the husband, dealing with wife, dealing with all those duties of the grahastha, that matures you out. And that is why Veda says brahmachari should move from brahmacharya ashram to grahastha ashram. Because this grahastha ashram is like a skin. It is necessary for you until you ripen. And once you ripen, then you should come to vanaprastha and sannyasa. So at least in today's world, we can say that you necessarily have to withdraw. So vanaprastha is detachment. You don't have forests, so you can't go there. But vanaprastha is mental detachment. And therefore, what should the jnani advise the ajnani? Continue to be in family life, but follow karma yoga. That is why Krishna says, Tan mandan kritsnavit na vichalayet. The jnani should not disturb the people who have not got knowledge. Akritsnavit na vichalayet. So Kritsnam means total. Kritsnavit means total knowledge. So that Kritsnavit is an interesting word. Total knowledge. The one who has total knowledge. Of what? Of his own self. And we have seen in the earlier classes also, total knowledge of a jiva involves two aspects. The RC, which is the lower self, and the OC, which is the higher self. So if I have to have total knowledge about me as a jiva, I must know that I am the RC, and also I must know that I am also the OC. As long as, why do I say there are two pieces? Actually, there are not. But when you look at yourself as the body, mind, sense complex, you are the RC. When you look at yourself as that particular power, because of which the body, mind, sense complex is conscious, then you are the OC. Both these aspects you must know. The para prakriti, apara prakriti. This is what Krishna uses in a later chapter. The para prakriti is the higher self. The apara prakriti is the lower self. Both of these you must know. We can simply call it the lower I and the higher I, or the lower self and the higher self. Once you know both, then only do you have a total knowledge. Do you have complete knowledge? Then only can you be called a kritsnavit, complete person knowing, having complete knowledge of his lower and higher nature. You should not disturb a kritsnavit. What is a kritsnavit? The one who does not have a knowledge of his higher nature. He knows only his lower nature. Na vichalayet. You should not disturb him. Right? An unripe person, an immature person, if he comes to jnanam, or worse still, if he takes sannyasa, is a danger for everybody. Is a danger for sannyasa itself, because people will start doubting sannyasa when they see his behavior. He is danger for Shastram because he has not understood the Shastram, because he is not ready. And as a sannyasi, he might start teaching all wrong things to people. So he's a danger for the Shastram, he's a danger for sannyasa itself, he's a danger for himself, he's a danger for society also. So Dayanand Swami, it is said, he used to say, a very interesting statement. He used to say that if somebody comes and asks you for sannyasa, says, Swamiji, should I take sannyasa? What should you say?
If you have to ask, you're not ready for it.
Exactly. If you have to ask, you're not. So Swamiji says that anybody who asks me whether I should take sannyasa, my answer will be no. Because if you have to ask, you are not ready, right? So the answer is no. The question implies the answer itself. And therefore, Krishna here is saying that do not encourage an ajnani to emphasize sannyasa. Do not emphasize sannyasa to an ajnani. Encourage him to remain in karma, because karma yoga here means karma yoga. Remember, not just karma. Karmi has no spiritual value. Karma has no spiritual value. Only karma yoga has. Therefore, encourage him to be a karma yogi. He should do karma yoga. He should do upasana yoga. He should bhakti yoga. Once his mind is ripened, he need not drop the attachment. The attachment will naturally drop. What is the best example of a naturally dropping attachment? When you were young, among the ladies, how many of you had Barbie dolls whom you were very, very highly attached to? Nobody will admit, of course. Different matter.
When we were growing, there were no Barbie dolls.
Yes.
How much you missed out in life. Terrible.
Yes.
Yes, but I was attached to my doll, and then yes, we outgrew that.
Yeah, that outgrowing, that is what is meant here. You have to wait till you outgrow. And for men, it was gilli danda. You had that stick in the danda, gilli, and you used to be very attached to it. But one fine day, you realize that was not necessary. So this is what is meant here. You have to, for the ajnani, there is no point in trying to drag him to jnana. He has to remain in karma as a karma yogi, as a upasana yogi, has to remain there, has to keep on working until such time as that attachments, those karma drop by themselves. Urvarukamiva bandhanat. Then only he is ready for jnana. This is the advice to a jnani. Okay, it is also the advice to all of us. Because I have found that, by the time you reach the 3rd chapter of the Gita, a lot of concepts are clear in our minds. And therefore, the first thing we do is we catch the nearest bakra and we start teaching. And we teach what? Please come to Jnana. You have not examined whether the other fellow is ready or not. So, this Krishna's advice is to us. First of all, get ready yourself. Second of all, before you start teaching, before you invite the neighbor, see the best way, somebody told me once, that one of my students actually, he said that after I finished all this, I feel so full of knowledge that I have to, dissipate it. I have to tell somebody. And my wife doesn't listen. She said, don't give me all this rubbish. So what do? I call my neighbor for tea. And then the neighbor is come for tea, then I give him jnana about chapter 2. What is the advantage?
It revises the thing.
Revision is done.
No,
he can't run away because he's
audience.
drinking tea.
He can't run away. You've given him tea,
Audience.
We
Yeah,
just have an audience.
You have a captive audience. So I often say that in my TTC also, the biggest advantage is that, when I teach, nobody can run away because attendance is mandatory. And therefore, that's a very great platform for teaching because all the students, whether they like it or not, they have to be there. So this is what Krishna is saying, don't do. You wait till somebody is ready. Okay. And more importantly, wait till you are ready. Right. Now we look at verse number 30.
Om, sir.
Yeah.
This para prakrti and apara prakrti, that is in the chapter 7, I think.
yes.
is the same as Ahankara and Sakshi.
Slightly different, but okay, we'll come to that. So don't worry about it. There are many ways of, many words which are used. One of the most misunderstood words is Sakshi. So let's park that for the time being. Okay, let's chant. Mai sarvani karmani
सर्वाणि कर्माणि
Sanyasyadhyatma chetasa Nirashirnirmamo bhutva Yudhyasva vigatadjvaraha. So I'm muting you all. And we will look at the grammar part first. So, Mai Sarvani Karmani. Up to there is no problem. Then, Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa. So, Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa. Then, Nirashi. So, you have to put a visarga over there. So, the ra will go away. Nirashir, the ra will go away. Nirashihi Nirmamaha. So, remember, these are the breakups. I mean, just for those who are interested, there are two portions here. Nirashir, there's a half ra. And Nirmamo, there is a O sound. Both these are indicative of visargas being dropped. So, when Sandhi is broken up, it becomes Nirashihi Nirmamaha. Nirashihi Nirmamaha Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatadjvaraha. Okay, now Anvaya is Adhyatma Chetasa Sarvani Karmani Mai Sanyasya Nirashihi Nirmamaha Bhutva Vigatadjvaraha Yudhyasva. Okay, so Sanyasya Sarvani Karmani Mai. Sanyasya, renouncing, Sarvani Karmani, all actions, Mai, into me. Renounce all your actions into me. How? Adhyatma Chetasa, with a mind that is discriminating. And not only that, that Chetasa, that mind, must be Nirashihi. Must be Bhutva Nirashihi, without any expectations about the future. Nirmamaha, without any sense of mamakara. Vigatadjvaraha, without any anger or frustration. Having done all this, Yudhyasya. Hey Arjuna, please fight. This is the advice being given to Arjuna. So in the previous verse, verse number 29, what was happening? Krishna was giving advice to the Jnani, right? And this advice started in, from where? From the 20th verse, from the line which is Loka Sangraham Evapi Sampashan Kartum Arhasi. The advice to the Jnani started from there. And briefly speaking, what was the advice? Ajnanis have to do karma for Chitta Shuddhi. Jnanis also have to do karma for Loka Sangraham, for the welfare of society. When the Ajnani does karma yoga for Chitta Shuddhi, or rather, when the Ajnani does karma for Chitta Shuddhi, it is called karma yoga. When the Jnani does karma for Loka Sangram, it is not karma yoga. It is karma abhasa, as if karma. So Jnani's leela it is. It is the play. Because there is no karma over there. It is as if karma, karma abhasa. And we saw the 29th verse Krishna was addressing the jnani, how not to disturb the ajnani by giving him unnecessary knowledge or bringing him to jnanam. And this 30th verse is addressed to the ajnani now. Why? Because Krishna knows who is ajnani? Arjuna. Therefore, he is addressing it to Arjuna. And here he is presenting karma yoga at different levels as different types of sadhana. So that analysis is important. Okay. So the first sadhana is Adhyatma Chetasa. What does Adhyatma Chetasa mean? So literally Adhyatma means myself. Chetasa means the mind. So my mind. The literal meaning doesn't make sense. And therefore we look at Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya says Adhyatma Chetasa means Viveka Buddhi, discriminating intellect. So the first and foremost condition to become a karma yogi is that you should have a Viveka Buddhi, an intellect which discriminates. Again, the moment you say Viveka, you should immediately recall a line from Tattva. What is that?
Nitya, Nitya.
Nitya, Anitya Viveka. Okay, so that is what it means. Viveka Buddhi means the intellectual capacity, the discrimination to know what is permanent and what is temporary. What is anatma and what is atma, you should be aware of. This awareness alone is your, is what defines you as a mumukshu, is what defines you as a person whose primary goal in life is moksha. And such a person, he knows that his life has purpose only if that entire life is spent in pursuing moksha. Okay. In fact, there is an Upanishad which we shall do. Of course, now it is very far away for all of you all, probably some 6-7 years down the line, but it's an Upanishad. It's a very beautiful Upanishad. It's called the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the big forest Upanishad. That Upanishad says, Yaha Atmanam Viditva Asmat Lokat Praitihi Saha Brahmanaha. Yaha, so first, Atma Asmat Lokat Praitihi. The person who leaves this world, Asmat Lokat Praitihi. The person who dies, basically, person who dies. Yaha Atmanam Viditva, having understood that he is the Atma. Saha Brahmanaha, only that person deserves the title of Brahmin. So, a beautiful definition of Brahmin. Not caste Brahmin, not guna Brahmin. Only the person who has understood that he is Atma, that person is deserving the title called Brahmin in the caste system. Okay, this is the title of Brahmin. And therefore you can add a corollary. The person who did not discover that has not spent his life properly, and that person is called Kripanaha, a miserly person, a miser. Why is he a miser? Because a miser doesn't spend his money either on himself or for others. And when he dies, that money is of no use to anybody. It was never any use to him anyway. So he has not used the money wisely. In an analogy with that, Krishna is saying that Upanishad says that the person who has not understood Brahman, which means who has not spent his life in spiritual sadhana, is a kripana, is a miser. He has wasted the life which he was given. And therefore, the idea here is that our human life has meaning only if it is dedicated to moksha. Therefore, to be a karma yogi, what is my first and ultimate goal? Moksha. I require other things. I require arthaha, wealth. I require kamaha, entertainment. I require dharmaha, giving to others. All these I require. But primarily, all these are not ends in themselves. They are the supporting disciplines for my ultimate goal, which is moksha. Therefore, moksha must be my ultimate goal. And for karma yogi, therefore, artha, kama, dharma are only sadhanam. They are only means. They can never be the end. They can never be the sadhyam. Okay. So he says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Sanyasya normally means renouncing. But here, look at the context. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Renounce all the karma to me. So here, essentially, renouncing has to be given a slightly different meaning of offering. Offer all your actions to me. That is where the concept of Easwara Arpanam comes up from. What is Easwara Arpanam? Offering all my actions to the Lord as an offering, right? All my actions are given as an offering or as an oblation to the Lord. This is where it comes from. Offer all your actions to me. That is the definition of karma here. Dedicate all your actions into worship. So we say also convert work into worship. This is what it means. And therefore there is that very often quoted one line, which is supposed to be the sankalpa of a karma yogi. Yat yat karma karomi tad tad akhilam te shambho tava aradhanam. Very beautiful sankalpa you do. Whenever you do any karma, in fact, early morning, the first thing as a karma yogi you should say is this: Yat yat karma karomi. Whatever karma I am going to do today, Hey Shambho, O Lord, tat tat, all those karma, akhilam, in its entirety, tava aradhanam, I am doing as a worship to you. So even eating, right? Pranaya swaha, that is also offering to the Lord. Which Lord is that? The Lord who is the Agni in your stomach. And therefore the vision here is that ultimately the Lord is not only in temples or in my puja room. The entire creation is a manifestation of Ishvara only. And that is why we say for a Vedantin, I don't need a temple. Anywhere I go, anything I do, even brushing my teeth, I mentally offer to the Lord. The action has to become a worship. And therefore, I convert every action of mine into aradhanam, into worship. And one derived corollary of that is what? If I'm offering all my actions to the Lord, naturally, I have to ensure that those actions are of the highest quality that I can offer. So that is the qualifying condition. Whatever highest quality I can offer, that I must do. Which means what? All those actions I do to the very best of my ability. So Krishna is not saying that the actions have to be of the highest quality possible. It has to be of the highest quality possible for you. What is the logic? No man can do more than his best. If I have done my best, that is enough. So that is what is meant here by saying, Yad yat karomi tad akhilam shambho tava aradhana. Ishvara arpanam buddhi. Then the next one is nirashihi. Literal translation of nirashi is, of asha is what? Hope. Nirasha is what? Hopelessness. So it doesn't mean that I am hopeless. So here asha is sankalpa, anxiety. That anxiety, that sankalpa is called ashaha or ashihi. And therefore nirasihi means without anxiety. You do your work, you do your offering to me without any anxiety. You will definitely get results. And therefore remember that nirasihi should not be taken as very, very often it is taken as hopeless, being indifferent to the results. It doesn't mean that. It means that you have done your best. Because as when you offer Ishvara Arpanam, you are doing your best. No man can do more than his best. After my action has been offered, which means after it has been completed to the best of my ability, then what can I do? I have nothing more to contribute. And therefore, I don't worry about it. I leave it to the Lord. Whatever comes, I will accept as Ishvara Prasadam, as a gift from him. And therefore, Nirashihi, not unduly concerned about the karma phalam. So remember that a very common meaning which people give is that don't plan for anything. Everything is in the hands of the Lord. So here Krishna is not saying that. He is not saying you should not plan your actions. Right? You have to plan. What does plan mean? I must know what result is expected from my actions. Is it not? The point is that if you don't know what result is expected, then you cannot even know what you should be doing. The structure of your action you cannot define unless you know what result is expected from that action. Right? Even if I have to get into a train to go to Delhi, I must know which train goes to Delhi. Is it not? I can't just go and get into any train saying that I'm not planning for the result. So Krishna's idea is that every movement of yours, every action of yours should be determined by the final goal that is there in your mind, which is what he referred to as Vyavasayatmika Buddhihi in chapter number 2. Your final goal is known, everything else is supporting. So planning is necessary, but worrying is not. Planning is a deliberate action which can be done at a particular time. And that particular time can be chosen for you. And during that planning, you can decide what all I am going to do. The whole gamut of planning is there. How will I achieve my goal? Supposing my goal is not achieved, what will I do next? What is plan B? What is plan C? What is plan D? All this I can plan, right? But that planning is a very deliberate activity. But worrying is not. So you can say that today evening between 7 and 8, I will plan my tomorrow. What I'm going to do tomorrow, I'll plan. And I will not do planning any other time that you can say. What about worrying? Just imagine that you're going to say, I will worry every day only from 7:30 to 8 in the evening. The other time I will not worry. Can you do that? No. And therefore planning makes you efficient, right? Worrying makes you inefficient. Planning is regarding the future. Worrying is also regarding the future. But because planning is deliberate action, engaging your free will, and worrying is not. Planning has benefits, worrying has no benefits other than blood pressure and bothering everybody else in the house. So Vedanta does not criticize planning. But Vedanta says, do not worry. There is no point in worrying. You must plan, definitely. But Ishvara Arpana means the planning has been implemented. After that, Ishvara Prasadam, be free from worry. Very practical, implications of these words. So you can see that the Gita is basically not some religious text. It's some manual of life, how to live your life peacefully without any problems. Then we go to the next one. Nirashi is over. Nirmamaha. Nirmamaha means free from mama. Mama means mamakara. What do you mean by mamakara? Whatever happens is mine. Whoever is there is mine. My house, my car, my kids, my wife, my husband. Any success I have in life. So how do you know whether somebody has strong mamakara Those of you who work in teams, you would have come across some team leader. Any success that comes, he goes banging his chest. I did it. Right? I planned. I was successful. I take all the credit. So that I. That is a mamakara. But the moment there is a failure, it is because my plan was not successful because my team people did not follow orders. So there he does not own up. There is no I there. Everybody else is there. Right? This plan is failed because somebody else did something. Here, we should remember that in any success, there are many factors involved, right? There are many factors, some of which are in your control, and there are many factors which are not in your control. So if you're a team leader, your own health itself is not under your control. You may be good healthy on many days, maybe unhealthy on many other days. The health of your team members are also not under control. The other factors involved in that particular operation, some may be under control, some may be not under control. Electricity might not be there one day, some other day somebody might not come. So there are so many factors which are there, which are not under control. Therefore, your role is one of several factors. Several variables are there in the success of any particular project, to use management terms. In every project, in the management of every project, there are many variables, some of which are visible, some of which are hidden. And that is what project management is all about. You have to envisage all the variables and make plans such that you have different plans in case of different things going wrong. Having understood that I am only one of the variables involved, to say that I have contributed all to the success is highly arrogant. But because I don't know all the variables, but I know that Bhagavan, in fact, the word Bhagavan itself is all the variables put together. We call good luck or bad luck. That is represented by Bhagavan. So put all the external factors in one bracket and call it Easwara. And therefore, whenever I succeed, I should say, you should take credit for success. Yes. You should say, we have succeeded. Don't say, I succeeded. We have succeeded because the team is there. And you add, by the grace of the Lord, we have succeeded. That humility which is there by the grace of the Lord, that is the recognition of Easwara in your life. That makes you a karma yogi. Okay. Then the next term is Vigata Jwaraha. So Jwara literally means fever, right? And fever can affect either the body or the mind. So Kaika Jwara is there, bodily fever, and Manasa Jwara is there, mental fever. So that's why when we are stressed out, your head feels very hot. Right? You touch and see, the temperature has changed. That is mental feverishness. That is what he's talking about. Stress or strain. You are arguing with your wife or husband, you get stressed. Your head becomes hot. That's why people say, don't get heated up. You know, they also say, Sar garama yaar, my head is hot. All these are indications of mental jwara, mental fever. So any heated argument, that's why we say heated argument, heated discussion. All this stress and strain and tension is called jara. And vigataha means without. So vigata jwaraha, without that mental stress and strain, without that mental fever, which is equanimity. Let your mind be peaceful. Let your FIR be low. And Krishna called it earlier in a phrase, samatvam yoga uchyate. Having said that, how is this mental balance disturbed? Remember, in our life, we function as in two roles. One is karta, one is bhokta. One is the doer of varieties of actions, karta. One is the experiencer of the fruits of all those actions, bhokta. So whenever I am not happy in what I am doing, I am an unhappy karta. And therefore, there is very important advice which somebody once told me, that if you have a job, if you get a job, or rather, other way around, supposing you don't get a job where you can do what you like, then the important thing is, number one, if you can get a job where you can do what you like, do that. And if it's a choiceless situation where you cannot get any other job, but you are getting a job where you have to do something which you don't like, then the best thing to do is to learn to like whatever it is that you have to do. And how do you do that? There are so many techniques. You improve the job. You innovate on the job. You do some extra research. You try to improve the quality of what you are doing so that you get to enjoy what you are doing. And in the 18th chapter, Krishna says, one of the most important characteristics of a karma yogi is dhrityut sahasam anvitaha. Dhrit, utsaha, and samanvitaha. Dhrityut sahasam anvitaha. Dhrit is there, utsaha is there, samanvitaha. Dhrit is firmness, utsaha, enthusiasm. You have to learn to like what you do. Do not let your mind tell you that I don't like this. Tell your mind, no. This is what I have to do, and therefore I am going to like it. This is equanimity, balance as a karta. So that is first, how to address that? By refusing to dislike what you do. That is the way of addressing the karta problem. The second source of tension is as a bhokta. I don't like what phalam I am getting. So I resist. Why is this happening to me? I blame everyone in the world, including the Lord. Right? Why to me this is very bad? I didn't do anything to deserve this. I forget that the law of karma gives you exactly what you deserve, exactly what you need. It may not give you what you asked or what you want, but it gives you exactly what you need, because karma phala data, Easwara, is incapable of being unjust, because he is just as bound by the law of karma as we are. He has to give you what phalam you deserve in terms of your karma itself, right? That is why it said that justice is very painful. And how should I learn to accept this pain? By surrendering to this very same Lord who is the karma phaladata. Karma phaladata has given me this pain. And you should say, mentally you should say, hey Easwara, I know that you are functioning according to the law of karma, and therefore you have no choice but to give me this particular pain or unpleasant circumstances. And if you have no choice to change that, then please give me the strength to face what I should face. This is called Vigata Jvara. And Arjuna as a karta has a big problem. He has to kill Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, all these people he has to kill. And it's very painful. How do we know? Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhuktum vaikshamapi haloke atvartha kamamasta guruni haiva punjiya bhogan rudila pratittan. He says in chapter 1. Even if I am victorious in this war, how can I enjoy that kingdom which is going to be stained with blood? And therefore he is facing a very painful situation. But he is a warrior. He has to learn to accept the consequences of the actions which he is going to do. The death of people who are close to him, he has to accept. And therefore, Arjuna, be Vikata Jvaraha. Samatvam is the condition which Krishna is talking about. So with this, we'll stop for today. And any questions?
Sir, I have two things to say.
Yeah.
One, that it is unbelievable how I was looking for something and I got it today in the class. It happens all the time. We've been talking in the group. But when you say surrender your karma, like my daughter has recently turned 18 and I believe she's an adult. So can we surrender our child to Easwara too?
You see, spiritually speaking, shastrically speaking, we often say our child, right?
Yeah.
But you look at the totality of it, you look at the Vedantic angle of it. No jiva is ever yours. You existed as a jiva, you have existed since time immemorial. And every particular srishti you have had millions of births. Similarly, your child, whom you say your child today, that jiva has existed equally, anadi. Both jivas are anadi. How do you claim ownership of that jiva? That is the way you look. Yes, as a parent, you have been instrumental in providing the body to that child, to that jiva. You have been instrumental in looking after the body and giving it correct samskara, all those things as parents you have done. Your job is over. And you will still continue. Like you will still continue to do when that child needs help, you will still help. But ownership you cannot take. It's a trusteeship. The Lord has given the jiva to you as a trustee. As a trustee, you have duties, but you have no ownership.
So, sir, the advice is given to Arjuna because his attitude is at like an agyani, and he's disturbed about the prospect of war, wherein he will have to kill all his loved ones and the elderly people. Yes. So Krishna is actually saying that develop this attitude of Ishwararpan and Ishwar Prasadam and and be free from worries, anxiety, and fight.
Correct.
So that is the completion of the verse.
Basically saying that be dispassionate in your life. Whatever problems you face is a problem created by you yourself. So just be dispassionate. Don't think these are my people. No people are ever yours. They are always independent jivas. They are never yours.
So primarily he's giving the attitude that he has to develop as a karma yogi of Ishwara.
It's an instruction to all of us. How should we behave in life?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Deepa.
Acharya. Yeah. First lesson when we are born, we learn is detachment. Because the moment हम लोग पूर्ण हो जाते हैं, we get detached from the womb. And we don't realize that is the first lesson God teaches us to detach. Am I right?
It's a natural process. Like basically I would more compare it to the skin. You need the womb for a particular time. After that, you don't need the womb. The same womb, which is a protector for you, can become your destroyer if you continue to remain in the womb after 9 months. And therefore, the womb throws you out.
Yeah, that is the first lesson, to detach with something.
That lesson is not learned because you don't have the capacity at that point of time. So it's always learned in terms of post, once you are able to think.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, John.
I agree. You were mentioning that in the TPC, whether like there's many people that comes to the training, and most of them might not be ready for this kind of jnana because the TPC has a lot of Vedanta on it. But on the other hand, for example, when I took the TPC, maybe I was not ready for Vedanta at that time, but just listening to other classes kind of ignited a curiosity inside. But if Krishna is saying don't I don't, unless other people is ready, don't give teachings. How can we balance these apparently contradictions?
There is no contradiction at all. If you are not ready, you can just look at yourself. What was your total batch and how many people have come to Vedanta? You can look at that. You will know. So unless you're ready, the teaching makes no sense to you at all. And normally in a TTC, we don't have the choice of teaching only to those who are ready. So everybody comes to TTC. But in these classes, for example, only those who are ready come. Because to consistently stay in this class for year after year, week after week, month after month, year after year. There are some people in these classes who have been there for more than 6 years. So it requires a lot of dedication. It requires the commitment that, yes, I find this teaching valuable. That is what is meant.
But not the consistent one. I'm here.
Some people, the point is some people are unable to prioritize. But the samskara is there. Otherwise, Swati, you would not be coming again and again to the same class. There are many who have just dropped out completely, right? When this particular batch started, when this BG5 started, we had 100 people. Now we have less than 70 consistent, which means 30% have dropped out, is it not? People will drop out because they are unable to bear the rigors, to come regularly to the same class again and again and again and listen to the same descriptions and the same jnanam and then yet to find it to be of use to you. That requires chitta shuddhi. Without that, you will not be able to last the course. Okay, so if there are no more questions, then we will close for the day. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Evavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much.
Jai guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.